Good afternoon, Saitlanders. How are you? And this morning, I put my phone away in the drawer here. Let's have a look at it. This morning, I read a Russia Today article about, let's use their words. Our focus was to get Trump out of office. CNN technical director admits network is propaganda in new Project Veritas video. You can look this up very easily. It was published yesterday, the 13th of April. If you just search for it on rt.com, you'll find it very easily. And it reminds me we can go back to it in a minute. It reminds me of Donald Trump's private and official presidential Twitter accounts being switched off on a number of occasions in recent years. Some of you will remember last year in late 2020. Some of you will remember it happening in 2017. And I think the day before, for 11 minutes, I could be getting confused, but the day before the elections in 2016, something like that. Anyway, they've been trying to get rid of Donald Trump from the from Twitter, from a mainstream social media channel for a long time, and they finally got it right a few months ago, as you know. And that reminds me again of Microsoft's Project Veritas, where I had it up here at some point. Let's not struggle for too long. I think I can kind of speak out of my head, out of memory if I struggle. Oh, here we go. There is a video on YouTube on the Really Graceful, that's right, the channel called Really Graceful, which is a nice video and quite long, so it goes into some depth, about, well, it's entitled, this will help you to find it, Microsoft Forms Ministry of Truth. The expression Ministry of Truth comes from George Orwell's book 1984. For those of you for whom George Orwell is not familiar, he was an author. It was a pseudonym. His real name was Eric Blair, and he was a very good author, outstanding author, but he was very left-wing. And he wrote a book called 1984, predicting how society would be controlled by a sort of overarching authority, almost like a one world system kind of thing. And he coined this phrase, Ministry of Truth. The ministry in the then society. Sorry everybody about that. I'm getting hoax calls, quite a lot of them. Where there's nobody on the other end of the line. There's somebody there. You can tell that there's somebody there. Not necessarily by deep breathing or something like that, but it's apparent that there's somebody there somehow. But they don't respond when you answer the phone. It's been going on this week, and it was quite bad for about 2 weeks, a month ago, or 6 weeks ago, something like that. And so Microsoft, supported by Adobe, ARM or ARM, I don't know who they are, BBC, Intel, the chip producers, Microsoft, and Trooping are in a coalition to develop end-to-end open standard for tracing the origin and evolution of digital content under the helm of Bill Gates. So, it's a Bill Gates initiative, and he is supported by his company Microsoft and others, as I mentioned. And it says technology and media entities join forces to create standards groups aimed at building trust in online content. So I think you can work out for yourself what is the gist of this video. It's really just to point out the reality of this phenomenon, the reality of a ministry of truth, or something like a ministry of truth being developed, the actual reality, rather than the speculation, rather than the wild speculation of neurotic people that it may be something that will happen one day. The reality of a president's Twitter accounts being shut down. How we are moving as Saitlanders particularly, but as conservative Christian Caucasians all over the world, how our societies, the societies which our forefathers built, are being herded into cattle kraals intended to destroy us. And it's amazing that people just don't see it. It's amazing that there are some people out there who don't believe it could be happening. There are some people with whom you and I are familiar, who we know, who we love, who we wish to help, refuse to believe that there could be an agreement between six or seven of the world's largest companies that control almost all internet and media and technology, information technology, to decide what is not and what is acceptable in discourse, in public debates, in conversations about society. Just as it is difficult even now for me to watch this video on RT and to not to believe it. I can believe it, but I find it hard to come to terms with it. The CNN technical director Charlie Chester reveals how the network purposefully painted Joe Biden in a positive light to get Donald Trump out of office. In a conversation with a Project Veritas journalist, this is now all reported on RT, but they're reporting on a report by Project Veritas. Chester can be seen on video admitting that CNN worked to make Trump look unfit for office, while simultaneously portraying Biden as healthy to combat fears the 78-year-old was not up to holding the presidency. Look at what we did. We, CNN, got Trump out. I am 100% going to say it, and I 100% believe that if it wasn't for CNN, I don't know that Trump would have got voted out. In other words, if it wasn't for us, the voting populace wouldn't have worked him out. I came to CNN because I wanted to be part of that Chester says in the video. He said many things. I'm not going to read it all to you verbatim. You can look it up yourselves very easily. But he also detailed bringing in medical people to tell a story that was all speculation. This is his admission about Trump's handshaking. In other words, at some point, they decided to combat the reports that Joe Biden was mentally deficient, that he was suffering the dementia of the elderly. What is senile dementia? Senile, the opposite to juvenile. Juvenile being young, senile being old. Senile dementia being the dementia of the elderly. In order to combat or to compete with, if you like, the reports that Joe Biden was showing signs of senile dementia, they concocted reports based on nothing that Donald Trump was showing signs of handshaking. Perhaps his hand had shaken once or twice, as many of our hands do from time to time, while putting down a pile of papers, I don't know. And from that they had speculated, they'd just manufactured from nothing. From a molehill they'd made a mountain, using medical experts. It's unbelievable. This is the world in which we live, in which the truth is manufactured by the Ministry of Truth, and in which if you refuse to play the game, your accounts get blocked. And in any case, the biggest of the biggest are saying that everything that you say is false and then making up a whole lot more stories out of thin air. That's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please press the thumbs up button. It's important. It's important for the channel. And share the video. Take very good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.